Writing with Elena. This is Elena, and I'm here to tell you about character profiles, how to do them, how not to do them. You get the drift. I may have did a short spiel on character profiles, but I'm just going to go a little bit more in depth today because I think it's more important that we get this right, because you want to win the Waddies, right? You want to get published, right? You want to have your stuff on Amazon, on Indigo Chapters, wherever the hell you find a book, right? So you have to, this is like the log line, you have to get this right too. And to tell you the truth, this is where it's going to get a little tricky, because you kind of have to base it on people you actually know, or people that are in your head. If you have more than one personality in your head, be it DID or other stuff. If you have multiple people living in your head, like different aspects of your personality. I'm not just saying this out of dissociative identity disorder, which I don't have, but know what it's like. The idea is you have different aspects of your personality, so you may want to base your characters on each different aspect of your personality. If you do not have dissociative identity disorder, or if you really are not that imaginative like I am to use different aspects of my personality, talk to people that base them on people you know. That is the big mother of it all, the big mother of it all. And I'm not talking about the band, I'm talking about that bad word, so we're not going to say that. But anyways, you need to base it on aspects of your personality, or you as a young kid, you as a teenager, you as now, you as whatever, but you cannot base it on someone like a rock star. Like, you will never, no offense to Jacob E. Shaddix, but I will not be writing a book about him and his adventures, because I don't know him personally. I may have seen him on stage at Blues Fest, which is great and all, but when it comes down to it, I only know him from that and from TV, and you gotta stick to with what you know. Really, that's gonna be the mantra. Stick to what you know, stick what you love. If you like celebrities that much and you've constantly researched that one celebrity, go right ahead. Base it on them, but you have to know which underwear they're wearing at the time. So you kind of need to know, and I'm sorry for the creep factor, but you kind of need to know what the clothing style and stuff. You have to know what makes these characters tick. You kind of have to be like a psychiatrist, where you're literally picking the brain to figure out what's going on with the characters. So anything you find about the characters, it's a profile, like an FBI profile of a serial killer. So the way they live, the way they eat, the way they dress, how they look, what they do for fun, what they do for a living, mental health, anything that is of a personality, right down to the damn IQ if you have to. It has to be very, not even like an FBI profile of a serial killer. It has to be pretty detailed, and like a good paragraph or so, like this thick or this word's thick. It's just a matter of things like, do they like tattoos and piercings? Are they religious? What kind of household did they live in? What kind of personality do they have? Do they have a light triad personality? Do they have a dark triad? I'm just saying, are they going to be a good person, a bad person? Are they going to be in the middle? Are they going to be generic or unique? You want to go for the unique. You want them to be pretty unique and pretty interesting, as it is with their characters, the more unique, and I've been told this because I'm a pretty unique person, that you're usually very unforgettable. So that being said, you want your characters to leap off the page. So I'm going to show you a few things of character profiles that I've done for various books. I'm not going to tell you which books they are. You probably know if you've read them on Wattpad or on Amazon. But really, the big mother of this all is, and I'm trying to keep my language clean, is keep it to things you know. If you're going to write about a tomato plant, go right ahead. It's fine. What does a tomato plant do? It makes its own food through photosynthesis and stuff. So you get the drift that that's not going to be too hard. But if you want it to have personality, you have to make it unique. So what do they like? What do they not like? Are they religious? Are they not? Are they in the between that? Are they interested in this? Are they interested in that? Do they like tattoos and piercings? Because that will affect the way they obviously will look. Are they goth, punk, emo, normal looking, whatever? Are they cookie cutter people, like as I would call them, the normal? So you want to know, you want to feel this out before you write. What do you want the person to be like? Do you want them to have purple hair, or do you want them to have a disability? You may want them to have a disability. That's part of the personality of the character. So you may say, may be in a wheelchair or may have autism. If you're writing about someone with a disability, I usually say PTSD for mine, because I happen to have had PTSD until I started writing full force, and then it kind of disappeared. But if you're interested in writing, that's what's going to happen to your mental health, is it's going to be enhanced, I find. But anyways, or at least you will know when you're starting to get ticked off. So anyways, but you want every aspect of this character's life written down, except for when they go to the bathroom. That is a little invasive, except for when they take a shower. That's something else. You add that in the story if the story needs it. But with character profiles, it's kind of like filling out your own Facebook profile. You say what you like. You say what you don't like. You say what you're interested in, what you're not. Definitely what religion, whatever. And you would put up a profile picture. And if you have tattoos, that's you. If you have piercings and tattoos, that's you. If you don't, that's you too. But that's the same thing with your character. I have seen on Wattpad people posting profile pictures of their characters so they wouldn't have to describe them. That is fine and all, but this is a book you're writing. It's not a social media site, so try to keep the pictures to a minimum. And unless it's a graphic novel, then go right ahead. What the hell is going on with people that they're posting headshots of their characters? But anyways, I try to do it. Sometimes I don't. Depends. But anyways, I usually like to keep things to the imagination, write everything that the character, right down to what they eat in breakfast. Lucy likes to eat Fruit Loops. Lucy likes jewelry. Lucy likes to get tattoos and piercings. I'm just basing this one off me, for example, so you get the drift. Avid reader, yes or no, kind of thing. It's kind of like investigating a murder in this case. You have to literally go through the yeses and the no's of each character to figure out who they are. And then when you're done, you can type out what the profile is. But you literally have to pause sometimes to say, oh wait, that is who they are. Let me type it down. And then it might take a few minutes. It might take 15 minutes. It might take 30 minutes. Depends on the story. Might depend on how complex the story is. Also, I find that having a few key character profiles is better than having 1,000 different characters, and then you're not going to get so screwed up and confused. Because if you ever read the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, which I have, and I love that book, but anyways, the characters, they have more characters than I am seeing plants in my garden. So that being said, that says a lot. You want to keep it at the most 10 or 20 characters and then be done. But I would really be ideally saying 10 characters. So that being said, 10 key characters, maybe a few not so key characters. Depends on how your brain is wired. I know my brain's wired differently because that's just the way life is. But anyway, so I just do a few key characters, like 10 key characters, leave it at that and insert other ones later. That being said, this is a good practice. I've been getting a lot of rave reviews on my characters development sometimes. Depends on the person, but you just want to make sure that you get the same thing. So try to be very detailed in your character profiles. Thank you, and this has been Elena on Writing with Elena. Thank you.